Alright, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my let's see. Let me go to my main camera. Alright, we're live. And guys, as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, this stream I'm gonna be working on game logic as well. This is currently day 99, one more day left. Kinda nervous for tomorrow, but that aside, let me go to my gameplay screen. Okay, and guys, before I start the stream, I do want to appreciate you guys for 900 subscribers. We actually hit it in one day. Like, before yesterday, I was at 800. Then yesterday after the stream, when I checked my subscribers, I'm like 900. I do appreciate you guys for that. That aside, let me go ahead and start off by making the same exact game that I've been making for like 5 streams. I'll start off by importing Pygame. Okay, although before that, let me check if my stream's going good. Why is it like zoomed on my face? My gameplay screen, there we go. Is my main camera messed up? Okay, gameplay screen. Okay, perfect. Alright, let me start off by importing Pygame. There we go. Import Pygame. And honestly, the stream kind of looks. Let me just check if my stream's going good. Okay. I gotta most likely get an Ethernet cable, guys. My Wi-Fi is too slow up here. Okay, let me go there, there. Alright, perfect. Okay. Let me just scroll down a bit. Guys, I'm just checking if everything's going good. Okay, with that said, let me go ahead and import Pygame, and then let me initialize Pygame by typing pygame.init. Okay, this initializes Pygame, and then I want to initialize Pygame's mixer as well, since I am going to be using sounds. Okay, pygame.mixer.init. This initializes Pygame's mixer. Alright, what else do I need? Let's see. I would need the sys module, so let me import a bunch of modules. I'll import sys. I'll import the random module. Lastly, I'll import the time module. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load a few game variables. So I'll go with game. Actually, before game variables, I might go with display. For my display, I'll create a width variable and a height variable. I'll set my width variable to be 1000 and height variable to be 650. And then I'll go ahead and create a screen variable. So that equal to pygame.display.set_mode. My mode is going to be in a tuple of my display's width and my display's height. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and add a caption to my game. I'll go with pygame.display.set_caption. My caption is going to be something like, let me fix my spelling. Okay, my caption is going to be something like, I don't know, Calamity 1.1. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add my game variables. So I'll create a comment that says game variables. For my game variables, I'll need a gravity variable, also that equals to 0.5, and then I would need something like a clock variable for my FPS controller, also that equals to pygame.time.capitalize clock. My clock, honestly, I might add a comment that says FPS controller. Okay, and then let me go ahead and create a FPS variable, also that equals to 60. I want my game to be 60 frames per second. Maybe remove the comment. Hey yo, what's up, with long time no see. Howdy Kirtiga, guys. I apologize if I can't pronounce the names. I'm like awful at pronunciations. Although howdy, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's see. What else would I need? I would want to load a few images, so let's go ahead and load images. Okay, what other images would I need? I'd need a hero image for my player, so I'll go with hero_image, also that equals to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my hero image. My file path is going to be game items. Let me just zoom in a bit so you can see. Zoom out a little so you guys can see. Followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by player, followed by 2 more forward slashes, my hero PNG, and since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Convert_alpha. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load some of my NPC PNGs. So I could go with a skeleton_image, also that equals to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my skeleton image. The file path is going to be game items, followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by Let's see, NPCs, 2 more /. This is gonna be my skeleton PNG. And since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load my dragon PNG. I'll go with dragon underscore image, also that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my image. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 /, followed by NPCs, 2 more /. This is going to be my dragon underscore image. Honestly, my dragon underscore image name is way too big. Let me fix that real quick. Go there, rename. Let me change that to dragon. Okay, I'll go with refactor. Alright, now the name's much better. Okay, let me change that to dragon. Okay, perfect. And since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. And guys, I just realized I forgot to mention it on my Discord that I'm going live. Give me a sec. Let me just copy that. Go to my Discord. Okay, give me a sec, guys. I usually let people know in my Discord that I'm live. Okay, let me say, everyone, I'm live! Exclamation. Okay, perfect. With that said, let me go ahead and load a few more images. For example, my meat underscore image, I'll set that equal to, maybe I'll go with like lowercase meat underscore image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my meat image. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 /, followed by meals, 2 more /. This is going to be my meat PNG. And again, since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. And honestly, I can't hear my, whatchamacallit, my music. Might as well increase the sound. Okay, there we go. That should be good. Alright, and then let me go ahead and load my buff potion image. The reason I'm loading a buff potion image is because I do want to add a buff system in my game. So let me go ahead and load a buff underscore pod underscore image, also that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my buff potion image. My file path is going to be game /, followed by 2 /, followed by buff bar. Actually, this is going to be potion, since this is going to be my potion. Okay, followed by 2 more /. This is going to be my buff potion PNG. Since this is a potion, I will convert it to alpha. Okay, perfect. And lastly, let me go ahead and load a meat image. The meat image is going to be the drop that spawns on my screen that my player is going to eat and recover HP. So let me go with meat underscore image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give my file path for my meat image. The file path for my meat image, honestly, I did load my meat image. So this is going to be my coin image. Coin underscore image. Okay, so basically the coin image is going to be random coins are going to be spawning on my screen. Every time my player collects a coin, he gets a score. So let me get the file path. Game items followed by 2 /, followed by drops, 2 more /. This is going to be my gold coin PNG. And since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Okay, perfect. That's basically all the images that I needed. So let me drink some water. Hello, how are you doing, Magnus Lord? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, let me drink some water. Okay, now that I loaded the images, let me go ahead and transform and scale the images. So let me add a comment that says transform and scale. Okay, to transform and scale, let's see. Since I have more than one, or since I have multiple images, I might define a function called scale. Then maybe fix my transform spelling. There we go. Okay, perfect, guys. I cannot spell. Okay, for transform and scale, define a function called scale and add few parameters. The first is going to be an image parameter. The second is going to be a factor parameter, which is going to be set to 0.1. That's basically 10% by default. Okay, and then let me go ahead and return pygame.transform.scale. I want to scale my image. The size is going to be in a tuple. I'll go in a new line. Go with integer. Now I'm going to be getting the width of my image and multiplying it by the factor, and then I'll get the height of my image and multiply it by the factor. So I'll go with image.get_width. I'll get the width of my image and then multiply it by my factor. Then add a comma, go to a new line. I'll get the height of my image and multiply it by the factor. Image.get_height multiplied by my factor. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and transform my images. So I'll go with hero underscore image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my hero underscore image. Okay, and then I'll go with my skeleton underscore image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my skeleton underscore image. And then, let me just copy that. Paste it here. Okay, and then I'll go with my dragon underscore image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. Scale my dragon underscore image. Okay, and now for my drops, it's going to be a little different because I don't want my drops factor to be 0.1, which is like 10%. I want it to be smaller, so let me go ahead and scale my meet underscore image. Also, that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my meet underscore image, although I don't want the factor to be 0.1 by default. Instead, I want it to be 0.05, which is going to be smaller than 0.1. Then let me go ahead and scale my coin underscore image. Also, that equals to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my coin underscore image. The factor is going to be the same as my meet underscore image, 0.05. Lastly, let me go ahead and scale my buff pod image. Also, that equals to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my buff pod image. Okay, and the factor is going to be the same as my meet image and coin image, 0.05. Okay, perfect. That's basically it for scaling. Next up, let me go ahead and load a few sound effects because I do want to add sound effects to my game as well. So let me go ahead and add a comment that says, load sound effects. What will you be doing after this 100-day series? Honestly, I did think of like a bunch of ideas, but today night after I'm done with my college stuff, I'm going to be brainstorming and thinking what should I actually be doing, and I'll probably say that next stream because next stream is technically my day 100. I need to prepare a script maybe for the day 100. I don't have enough time, guys. Okay, so to load my images, first image could be like a collision image or like a colliding underscore sound effect for when my player collides with someone. I can set that equal to pygame.mixer.capitalize sound. I'll give the file path of my sound. The file path is going to be game item followed by 2// followed by sfx, 2 more // This is going to be my colliding sound effect. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load my colliding sound effect for my coin. So I could go with something like coin underscore collision underscore sound effect. I can set that equal to pygame.mixer.capitalize sound. My file path is going to be game item followed by 2// maybe zoom out a bit. Sound effects, 2 more // This is going to be my coin collision sound effect. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load a sound effect for if my player eats a meat. Let me go ahead and create a variable called eating underscore sound effect. I'll set that equal to pygame dot. Did I go with mixer last time? Pygame.mixer.capitalize sound. My file path is gonna be game item followed by 2 / followed by sfx, 2 more // This is gonna be my eating meat sound effect or like eating sound effect. And then let me go ahead and load a sound effect for my player drinking a potion because my player will be drinking a potion. So I'll go with drinking underscore sound effect. I'll set that equal to pygame.mixer.capitalize sound. The file path is going to be, let me fix my typo. Okay, the file path is going to be game item followed by 2 / followed by sfx, 2 more // This is going to be my drinking potion sound effect. What is your goal as a software developer? Being a developer or something else? Honestly, my main goal was to be an AI engineer, but I'm kind of confused between being an AI engineer and or cybersecurity. I might be one of those, honestly. The reason I tried, like, I was making a game is because when I like started learning Python 100 days ago, that was me being an absolute beginner in Python, so I didn't know much about programming or anything in general. So I thought that we could like program using any games, like we could make games using any programming or coding language. So I thought it would be a good idea to like make a game using Python, but apparently that was a kind of bad idea. Although I did learn a lot while this 100 series, so I do appreciate that. That said, let me go ahead and load a image for my buff potion. Actually, not buff potion. What else do I need? Maybe my skeleton underscore sound effect for my skeleton sound. Can set that equal to pygame.mixer.capitalize sound. My file path is gonna be this is gonna be a lowercase mixer dot sound. My file path is gonna be game items followed by 2 / followed by sfx, 2 more // This is gonna be my skeleton sound effect. Okay, these are honestly all that I can think of. What else did I need? I might need a windscreen sound effect for the sound effect that's going to be playing if my player or if my windscreen is being displayed. So I could go with that. So windscreen sound effect. So that equals to pygame dot mixer dot capitalize sound. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 / followed by sfx, 2 more /. This is going to be my game 1 sound effect. Okay, let me do the same thing for my lose screen sound effect. I'll go with lose underscore screen underscore sound effect. Also that equals to pygame dot mixer dot capitalize sound. I'll give the file path of my sound effect. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 / followed by sfx, 2 more /. This is going to be my game lost sound effect. Okay, and then I might need one for my mission as well to like say my player what's the mission for the match. For example, mission collect 10 gold coins. So let me go ahead and load that. I'll go with mission underscore 1 underscore sound effect. Also that equals to pygame dot mixer dot capitalize sound. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 / followed by sfx, 2 more /. This is going to be my mission 1 sound. Okay, that's honestly basically all the sound effects that I'll need. Let me go ahead and set volume for these sound effects. So let me go ahead and add a comment that says set volume for SFX. Okay, for setting volume for my sound effects, I'll firstly go with my colliding sound effect or like colliding coin sound effect. I'll set that actually colliding sound effect dot be set underscore volume function. My volume is going to be 0.2, which is basically 20%. Let me do the same thing for my colliding sound effect. I'll do the dot play function and my volume is going to be 0.2, which is technically 10%. There we go. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and okay, this is going to be the dot set volume. Okay, and then let me actually copy that. That's going to be much easier. So eating dot set underscore volume. I'll set a volume for my eating sound effect, which is going to be 0.2. That's basically 10%. And do the same thing for my drinking sound effect. I'll paste that here. Drinking sound effect dot set underscore volume. My drinking sound effects volume is going to be 0.2. And then let me go with my skeleton sound effect. So my skeleton sound effect dot set underscore volume. My skeleton sound effects volume is going to be 0.2 as well. And then let me go with my windscreen sound effect. I'll paste that here. Windscreen sound effect dot set underscore volume. My windscreen sound effects volume is going to be 0.2. And second, lastly, I'll go with my loose screen sound effect dot set underscore volume. My loose screen sound effects volume is going to be 0.2 as well. Lastly, I'll go with, honestly, let me fix my typo here. Okay, lastly, I'll go with mission 1 sound effect. I'll paste here mission 1 sound effect dot set underscore volume. My volume will be 0.2, which is 20%. Okay, when I started programming, I was also game development. As a part of boarding school. I was in Unity, then I went to C, Harsh, console apps, PHP, simple websites, then reg.js, and later TypeScript. Honestly, that sounds pretty cool. Okay, I might need a few channels as well, honestly, so let me go ahead and create channels. And guys, I am pretty dead today because like yesterday I had a lot of college stuff to do, so okay, I'll go with channels for SFX. Okay, for my channels, I'll create one channel for my, basically what channel does is when you create a channel, that sound effect is going to be playing on an exclusive channel on its own, so other voices wouldn't interfere with that sound effect. So when all would I need a channel? I would need a channel for my mission 1 sound effect. When my mission 1 sound effect is playing, I don't want any other sound effects to be playing in the background. When my windscreen sound effect is playing, I don't want any other sound effects to be playing in the background. Same with loose screen. So let me create one for all of them. I'll go with win underscore screen underscore channel variable. I'll set that equal to pygame dot channel. Okay, this is going to be my channel number 0. And honestly, let me set a few number of channels too. So I'll go with pygame dot set underscore num underscore channels. Was this the function name? I forgot. Oh, it is pygame.mixer.setNum channels. Pygame.mixer.setNum channels. Okay, perfect. I'll need 3 channels in total. Okay, then let me go with a loose screen underscore channel. I'll set that equal to pygame.capitalize channel. This is going to be my channel number 1. And then let me go ahead and create a channel for my mission. So mission underscore 1 underscore channel. This is going to be equal to pygame.capitalize channel. Okay, this is going to be channel number 2. Maybe I zoom in a bit. Okay, let me just check if my stream feeling good on Kick. Okay. Alright, perfect. Okay, what else would I need? I honestly think that I might need my win screen details. Like if I win a match or if I like win my mission, then a screen shows in the screen or a screen covers my window. So win screen. For win screen, I'll be loading my win screen image. So I'll create a variable that says win screen underscore UI. Also that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my win screen UI. So the file path is going to be game items, followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by screens, followed by 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my win screen PNG, and since this is a PNG, I will be converting it to alpha. Actually, I won't be converting it to an alpha since I'm not going to be using this as an actual PNG. This is going to be covering my entire display. Okay, and then let me transform my windscreen UI. So I'll go with windscreen underscore UI. That equal to pygame.image.load. Okay, not pygame.image.load, pygame.transform. Guys, you guys can kind of ignore me today. I'm kind of too exhausted. That said, let me give my surface. My surface is going to be screen. Actually, my surface won't be screen. I want to scale my windscreen UI. The size is going to be in a tuple of my displays of my windows width and my windows height. Okay, perfect. And then let me actually add a creative font as well. The reason I am creating font is because when my windscreen UI is being shown, I want to render a text that says U1 press R2 to play again. So let me go with a win underscore screen underscore text underscore font. I could shorten that to win text font as well. Okay, I'll set that equal to pygame dot lowercase font dot capitalized font. My font type is going to be none. That's basically pygame's default font. My size is going to be 50. Okay, perfect. Let me do the same thing for a loose screen as well. So I'll create a loose screen comment. I'll type a loose screen comment and create a loose underscore screen underscore UI variable. Also that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path for my loose screen UI. My file path is going to be game item followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by screens, 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my loose screen PNG. And I will convert this. I won't convert this to alpha because I'm not going to be using this as a loose screen PNG. Okay, and then let me transform this. So I'll go with loose underscore screen underscore UI. Also that equal to pygame.transform.scale. I want to scale my loose screen UI. The size is going to be in a tuple of my display's width and my display's height. What have you been doing today since you were exhausted? Honestly, I've been burnt out like for the past, I don't know, like 10-ish streams or like ever since my college started because I feel like they don't tell us exactly what to do. They expect us to study everything. So yeah, I've just been reading my whole reader and like studying everything. That said, it has been a little exhausting, but I'm glad I didn't forget much stuff. Okay, so let me go ahead and create a loose screen text as well. Loose text underscore font. This is going to be the font that's going to be displaying if my loose screen text is being displayed, which says something like you lost, press R to restart. I'll set that equal to pygame.font.capitalized font. Okay, my font type is going to be none. That's basically Pygame's default font, and the size is going to be 50. Okay, perfect. And then honestly, under my game variables is category here. Let me go ahead and create a floor variable as well. The reason I am creating a floor variable is because I need a surface for my player to stand on. So let me go with floor. I'll create a floor variable, so that equal to pygame.rect.capitalized rect. My floors, I would need my floors x-axis, y-axis, width, and height. My floors x-axis could be something like, I don't know, 0. Y-axis could be something like 500. Width could be my display's width, which is set to 1000, and height is going to be something like 300. Okay, perfect. Alright, I honestly can't think of anything else, unless I'll think of one more thing that's going to be my score details, but I could add that in my game class. So let me start creating classes. So the first class that I'm going to be creating is going to be my game class. The reason I am creating a game class is because I would need a game class if I want to like reset my entire game at the end. It would be much easier if I had a game class. So I will define a dungeon constructor. Yo, how you doing, Hypertech? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, so let me go ahead and define a dungeon init constructor. My dungeon init constructor won't have any parameters, although it will have a few instance variables and maybe a few categories as well. This category could be my game state. For my game state, let's see. I could create a self.game underscore one instance boolean variable also that equals to false because I haven't won a game yet. Let me go with self.game underscore lost. I'll set that equal to false as well because I haven't lost a game yet. Okay. Yeah, I get that. My last school period, I spent working all the time, created a TikTok style app and website with a microservice architecture API. Front end was React Native. That honestly sounds pretty good. Hello, Hypertech. I'm back. What's you up to, bro? Honestly, today is the day 9. Today's the day 99, and tomorrow is day 100. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous, but I hope I'm going to be doing good. I'll get as much practice as I can today. The fun fact is my college exam and these things are almost in the same week. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and load a few more categories. So this could be something like, let's see, collision flag. Okay, collision flag is basically boolean variables that are initially set to false, but if I collide with an NPC or with an object, it's gonna switch back to true. So first object that I want to create a collision flag for is gonna be my skeleton underscore, let's see, skeleton collision. And this is going to be an instance variable. I'll just set that equal to false because I haven't collided with a skeleton yet. Let me go with self dot. Okay, perfect. And then I would need one for my dragon as well. So I'll go with self.dragon. I'll set that equal to actually self.dragon underscore collision. I'll set that equal to false as well because I haven't collided with a dragon yet. Okay, let's see, what else would I need? Honestly, I can't think of anything right now. So let me just create a class for my, actually not, excuse me guys, let me create a game object. I'll set that equal to my game class. Okay, now let me go ahead and create my parent classes. The first parent class that I would need is going to be a move class. The reason I am creating a move class is because all my objects would have to move, or like most of my objects, like my NPCs and my players, would need x-axis velocity and y-axis velocity. So let me add those. I'll define a dungeon init constructor and add a few parameters. Actually, I'll just add two parameters. The first is going to be x-axis velocity and the second is going to be y-axis underscore velocity. Okay, and then I'll create a few instance variables. So self.x-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to x-axis underscore velocity, and self.y-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to y-axis underscore velocity. Okay, and then let me go and create another class for my game objects. Basically, my game objects class is going to be a parent class as well, but it's going to be inheriting all the methods and attributes from my move class. Okay, so let me create a game objects class. Okay, and it is going to be inheriting from my move class. Okay, and then let me go ahead and define a dungeon init constructor and add a few parameters. Let's see what all parameters. I'll need x-axis underscore velocity. I'll set that equal to 0 for now. I'll need a y-axis underscore velocity. I'll set that equal to 0 as well for now. I'll need a position. I'll set that equal to a tuple of 0, 0. And lastly, I would need a image as well. Okay, perfect. Alright, and then since I am inheriting and I'm using inheritance, I would need a super dungeon init. So let me go ahead and create a super parentheses dot dungeon init. Okay, my super dungeon init is going to be inheriting all the, or is going to be needing all the parameters from the parent class that I'm inheriting from. Since I'm inheriting from the move class, I'm going to be adding all the parameters of my move class inside of my dungeon init here. So x-axis underscore velocity and y-axis underscore velocity. Okay, so my x-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to my game objects class's x-axis underscore velocity, and my y-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to my object class's y-axis underscore velocity. Okay, and then let me go ahead and create a few instance variables like self.image, which is going to be my image parameter, and then I'll create a rect. Rect is basically for the position of my object, where my object is going to be moving. I'm not going to be moving my object's image. Instead, I'm going to be moving my object's rect. my object's rect. I'll set that equal to my self.image dot the get underscore rect function, and my position is going to be top left, which is going to be equal to my position parameter that is set to 0 0. Okay, and then let me go ahead and create a mask. The reason I am creating mask is because I'm going to be using pixel perfect collisions, and we need mask for pixel perfect collision. Okay, to create a mask, I'll go with pygame.mask.from underscore surface, and the surface is going to be my self.image. Okay, perfect. And then let me go ahead and create a few methods that almost all my classes are going to be having. One of those methods could be a automate method. So let me define a automate method. Okay, the reason I am creating an automate method is because all my NPCs are going to be automated, which means they're going to be moving on their own. Okay, so my automate method, for my automate method, I'm going to increase my self.rect.x-axis, my object's x-axis. I'm going to decrease that by my self.x-axis underscore velocity. This is basically going to move my objects to the right side, or my NPCs to the right side, although they will be exiting the window. So I would have to add a loop as well. So if they exit the window, they spawn back on the window. So let me go ahead and add a loop comment and loop my NPCs. So to loop my NPCs, I'll go with the if statement. If my self.rect.x-axis, if my NPC's x-axis is less than 0, 0 is basically the end of my window, I'll set my self.rect.x-axis, my NPC's x-axis, to be equal to, let's see, somewhere around 850. Okay, perfect. That's basically it. Let me drink some water. So I'm really dehydrated, guys. Okay, let's see, what else would I need? Okay, I'd like most likely need a draw method as well, because my hero, my NPCs, my images, my objects, everything is going to need a draw method. So let me go ahead and define a draw method. My draw method will have a parameter of surface, which is going to be set to screen by default. Okay, perfect. And then let me go ahead and add, maybe zoom in a little. I'll go with surface.blit. I want to blit my self.image, which is my object's image, and self.rect, which is my object's position. Okay, and that's basically it for my game objects class. Now let me go ahead and start creating my actual player classes. So let me go ahead and create a class for my hero or for my hero. This is going to be my hero class. And my hero class is going to be inheriting from my game objects class, which inherits from my move class. Okay, let me go ahead and define a dungeon init constructor, and my dungeon init constructor is going to be having a few parameters, like a x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be set to 5 pixels per frame, a y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be set to 5 pixels per frame as well, a image parameter, which is going to be equal to my hero underscore image, a position parameter, which is going to be equal to something around 100 by 300. Okay, honestly, that's basically it for my hero class. Give me a sec, guys. Let me just say something. Okay, there we go. Guys, I just got a message. Okay, with that said, let's see. What else would I need? Let me go ahead and create a super dungeon init, a super parentheses dot dungeon init. Okay, now my super dungeon init is going to be having all the parameters of the classes that I inherited from. Since I inherited from the game objects class, I'm going to be adding all the parameters from the game objects class. My game objects class has a x-axis underscore velocity. I'll set that to my hero class x-axis underscore velocity. My game objects class has a y-axis underscore velocity. I'll set that equal to my hero class y-axis underscore velocity. My object class has a image parameter. I'll set that equal to my hero class's image. And lastly, my object class has a position parameter. I'll set that equal to my hero class's position. Honestly, I do want my hero to be able to jump as well, so I might add a jump strength parameter too. So might create a jump underscore strength parameter. Let me just zoom out so you guys can see it. I'll set that equal to a -4. Okay, and now since my jump strength parameter here is not inside of my game objects class, I'm going to be creating an instance variable for it inside of my hero class. Let me go ahead and create a self.jump underscore strength. I'll set that equal to my jump strength parameter. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and define a few methods for my hero. What all methods would my hero need? My hero would need, let's say, a move method because I want my hero to move, and it is going to be having a parameter of keys to it. Okay, and then what else would I need? Let's see. Let me add a bunch of if statements to check which key is being pressed. So let me go with if my keys at index of pygame.k is right. If my right key is pressed, I'm going to be doing something. I'm going to be increasing my self.rect.x-axis, my hero's x-axis, by my x-axis underscore velocity. And if my keys at index of pygame.k is left, if my left key is pressed, I'm going to be decreasing my self.rect.x-axis by my self.x-axis underscore velocity, and this is going to be a self. Okay, perfect. And this is going to be minus equals to. Alright, and lastly, if my keys at index of pygame.k is, let's say, space. If my spacebar is clicked, I'm going to be setting myself.y-axis underscore velocity, my hero's y-axis underscore velocity, equal to myself.jump strength. Okay, perfect. Pygame.k is space. If my keys at index of pygame.k is space. Did I spell space correct? There. Okay, that's basically it for my move method. This helps my player move all around the screen, although my player would exit the window as well. So let me trap my player inside my window. To trap my player inside my window, let me go ahead and create a comment that says trap player in window. Maybe fix my is it called like case sensitivity? Okay, I'll go with trap player in window. Okay, so to trap my player in window, I'll go with my self.rect.x-axis, my player's x-axis. Let me change that to window. Okay, I will set my self.rect.x-axis, my hero's x-axis, to be equal to max. Max is going to be 0, and min is going to be something like, let's see. Min is going to be self.rect.x-axis, my hero's current x-axis, comma, 1000 my vertical window size, actually my horizontal window size, minus my self dot rect dot width. Okay, my hero's width. Let me do the same thing for my y-axis as well. I'll go with self dot rect dot y-axis, my hero's y-axis. I'll set that equal to max. Max is going to be 0. My hero can go beyond 0. And then min is going to be my self.rect.y-axis, my hero's current y-axis, 650, minus self.rect.height. Okay, perfect. Alright, let's see, what else would I need? I might need a, let's say, apply gravity method for my hero as well. So every time my hero jumps up, he gets pulled down. So let me go ahead and create that. Before that, let me actually charge my phone because my phone is out of charge. Okay, and then keep it here. Alright, for my apply gravity method, let me go ahead and define a apply underscore gravity method. Okay, for my apply gravity, let's see. I won't honestly have any parameters from my apply gravity method, but I'll go with the if statement. If my self.rect dot. Firstly, actually, instead of going with the if statement, I'll increase my self.y-axis underscore velocity, my hero's y-axis, by my actually not self dot, just by my gravity variable, which is set to 0, and then I'll increase my self.rect.y-axis, my hero's y-axis position, by my self.y-axis underscore velocity, by my hero's y-axis underscore velocity, which always increases by my gravity, which means it's going to pull my player down. That basically simulates gravity. Okay, although this is going to be pulling my player down forever, I would need to add a trap method or like a landing. So let me go ahead and add a comment that says landing. Okay, for my landing, let's see, let me go with the if statement. So if my self.rect.bottom, if my rectangle's bottom slash my player's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor.y-axis, my floor's y-axis, I am going to be resetting my self.rect.bottom, my player's bottom, to be equal to my floor's y-axis. What this basically means is if my player is above my floor or standing on top of my floor, he remains on top of my floor. Okay, and then let me go ahead and reset myself that y-axis underscore velocity to be equal to 0, waiting for my player to hit spacebar again so he jumps up. Okay, that's basically it for my hero class. Let me go ahead and create a class for my skeleton. So I'll create a class for my skeleton, and my skeleton class will inherit from my game objects class. So I'll inherit from my game objects class, and let me go ahead and define a dungeon init constructor. My dungeon init constructor will have a few parameters. What all parameters would my skeleton class need? Let's see, my skeleton class would need an x-axis underscore velocity parameter. Okay, and then my skeleton class might need a y-axis underscore velocity parameter. And honestly, my x-axis is going to be 5 pixels per frame, and y-axis velocity is going to be equal to 5 pixels per frame as well. Then let me go ahead and add a image parameter, because my skeleton would need an image that is going to be equal to my skeleton image. And then maybe a position. My position is going to be equal to a tuple of 500 by 300. Okay, that's going to be 500. Alright, and that's basically it for my skeletons parameters. Let me go ahead and add a super dungeon init as well. So I'll go with super parentheses dot dungeon init. Okay, and my super dungeon init is going to be having all the parameters of the class that I'm inheriting from. Since I'm inheriting from my game objects class, I'm going to be giving all the parameters from my game objects class. So my game objects class's image parameter is going to be equal to my skeleton class's image parameter. My game object class x-axis velocity is going to be equal to my skeleton class's x-axis underscore velocity. My object class's y-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to my skeleton class's y-axis underscore velocity. Lastly, my object class's position is going to be equal to my skeleton class's position. Okay, now I wouldn't need any parameters or methods for my skeleton class, because the only two methods I would need for my skeleton class is automate method and the draw method. And since my game objects class already has an automate method and draw method, and my skeleton class is inheriting from my game objects class, I already have access to those methods without actually typing those methods. Okay, so let me go ahead and create another class in that case. This is going to be my dragon class, and my dragon class is going to be inheriting from my game objects class as well. So I'll go with game objects class. Okay, and then I'm going to be defining a dungeon init constructor, and my dungeon init constructor is going to be having a few parameters like my x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to 6 pixels per frame, a y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to 6 pixels per frame as well, image, which is going to be equal to my dragon image. Lastly, position, which is going to be equal to something like x-axis is going to be 500. Although it's going to be a tuple, my x-axis will be 500, but y-axis is going to be something like, actually, I might go with 50. Okay, perfect. And then let me go ahead and add a super pair of parentheses dot dungeon init constructor, just super dot dungeon init. And inside of my super dungeon init, I'm going to be adding all the parameters from the class that I'm inheriting from. Since I'm inheriting from my game objects class, I'm going to be adding all the parameters from my game objects class. So image parameter is going to be equal to my image. Y-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to my y-axis underscore velocity. X-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to my x-axis underscore velocity. Lastly, position is going to be equal to my position. And basically, that's pretty much it for my dragon class as well. Yo, how are you doing, Hypertech? I appreciate you joining this stream. Although I was kind of late for that. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and check if my kick stream's going good. Okay, perfect. Alright, next up, let's see what else would I have to do. What other classes would I need? I might need a health bar class as well, because I do want to show a health bar above my player's image. So let me go ahead and create a class for my health bar. There we go, health bar. Okay, my health bar class is going to be inheriting. Honestly, since my health bar is going to be a UI that's going to be displayed on my screen, I'm pretty sure I won't be inheriting from my game objects class, because I don't want it to be on a specific place, or I don't want it to be my game's object. I want it to be a UI in my game. So let me go ahead and define a dungeon init constructor. My dungeon init constructor will be having a parameter of my health bar's max HP. So let me go with a parameter called max underscore HP. Also that equal to 100 by default because I want my health bar's HP to be 100 by default. And then let me go ahead and create a few instance variables. So I'll go with self dot let's say current HP. So current underscore HP, my health bar's current HP is going to be equal to max HP, which is set to 100. I'll go with a self dot. Let's see, what else would I need? I'll need a current HP. I'll need a max HP. Self dot max underscore HP equals to my max HP parameter here. Okay, and then I need to give the file path for all my health bar PNGs. I did create a few PNGs or like draw a few health bar PNGs, so let me go ahead and load that. I'll go with self.hp underscore path instance variable also that equal to a dictionary. Now give the file path of all my PNGs. So firstly for my health bar 0 HP PNG, also that equal to pygame dot image dot load. I'll give the file path of my PNG. So my file path is gonna be game items followed by 2 forward slashes followed by health bar 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my 0 PNG health bar, and since this is a PNG I will be converting it to alpha. So let me convert alpha. Okay, perfect. Okay, and then just to save time I will copy this and paste it like 5 times. That's going to be 20 HP, 40 HP, 60 HP, 80 HP, lastly 100 HP. Okay, and let me change the 0 to 20. Let me change that 0 to 20. Let me change this to 40, change that to 40, change this to 60, change that to 60, change this to 80, change that to 80, lastly change this to 100 and change that to 100. Okay, perfect. Now that I've created all my dictionaries or like loaded all my images, these are raw images, so let me go ahead and transform and scale them using the scale function that I've created. So firstly, let me iterate over my dictionary. I'll go with for every key in my self.hp path, self.hp path. This basically gives me all the keys from my dictionary. Now let me go ahead and scale it. I'll go with self.hp path at index of key. Also that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my self.hp underscore path at index of key. Okay, perfect. That basically scales my images. Okay, next up, what else would I need? Let's see. Okay, now what all methods would my health bar class need? My health bar class is going to be having a method for take damage because my health bar will taking damage. Health bar will be taking damage, and then my health bar class will need a method for heal because my health bar class would heal as well every time he collects a meat. So firstly, let me define a take underscore damage parameter. My take damage parameter is going to be having a parameter. My take damage method is going to be having a parameter of amount. Okay, and then I drink some water. Okay, so for my take damage method here, I'm going to be adding my self.current HP. I'm going to be reassigning my self.current underscore HP, which is my player's current HP, to be equal to the max function. Max is going to be set to 0. What this basically means is my HP can go below 0, and then let me go with self.current HP, my player's current HP minus my minus my amount parameter. Okay, and that's basically it for my take damage method. Okay, let me go ahead and define a heal method as well. My heal method is going to be having a parameter of amount. Okay, then let me reassign myself current HP to be equal to my max function. Actually, not max function. Excuse me, guys. Actually, not max function. Instead, I'm going to go with a min function this time. Okay, so my min is going to be 100. This basically means my health bar's HP can't go above 100. I can't have more than 100 HP. And then I'll go with self.current HP. I'll increase that by my amount. Okay, perfect. Alright, what else would I need? I would need a draw method for my health bar. My game objects did have a draw method. did have a draw method to it, although the draw method in my game objects just draws my object on my screen. But I want my health bar to be always above my player's PNG no matter how much he moves. So I would need a unique draw method for it. Let me go ahead and define a draw method, and I will have a parameter of surface here, which is going to be set to screen by default. Okay, perfect. And then let's see, let me go ahead and iterate over my, my HP path again. The reason I'm iterating over them is because I am going to be using a conditional expression to check my current HP slash my current key. If my key is equal to my HP, I show that key's HP bar on the screen, if that made any sense. So let me go ahead and create a variable, something like HP underscore key, also that equal to max. Now add a conditional expression. My conditional expression will be something like, for every key in my self dot HP path, okay, I'll go with the if statement. If my key is less than or equal to my self dot current HP, this basically means is once I iterate over my self.hp path, my key is basically my individual keys here, like 0 HP, 20 HP, 60 HP, 100 HP type stuff. And if that individual key is either less than my self.current HP, whatever my player's current HP is, or equal to my whatever my player's current HP is, I'm going to be returning my K. This basically means I will get that HP displayed on the screen. And the reason I have max here is because my HP path can be below whatever my K is. Okay, then let me go ahead and create a image parameter, also that actually image variable, also that equal to my self.hp path at index of HP key. Okay, perfect. Okay, what else would I need? Now let me go ahead and add a position. So this is basically the image, but to blitz something on the screen, you would need the image and the position. So let me go ahead and create positions. So my x-axis is going to be equal to my hero object's center minus my HP or minus my images width center. So for that, I would need my hero object. So inside my game class, let me add a comment that says game objects and create a game object for my hero class. I'll go with self.heroObject. I'll set that equal to my hero class. Okay, there we go. And then let me go ahead and add my game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object dot rect my hero's rectangles center x-axis. So that's basically center x-axis of my hero. Okay, I am going to be subtracting that my image and getting my image's width first. So image dot get underscore width, and then I'll divide it divided by 2. Basically what the divided by 2 does is it gives me the exact half of my image. That's the center of my image. And 2 division gives me an integer. 1 division would give me a floating point number. Next up, for y-axis, also that equal to my game.hero.rect.stop. Okay, the reason I went with top this time is because I want my health bar to be drawn above my player. Instead, if I went with bottom, that would be drawn under the leg of my player. So I'll subtract that by my image, and this time I'll get the height of my image. So image.get underscore height, and I'll subtract my height by -80. And this -80 is just for visuals. You guys could change the proportions of this or like change the number based on you guys' PNG. That said, let me go ahead and create a surface.blitz. I want to blitz my image. The depth is going to be my x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and that's basically it for my health bar class. Honestly, I think it will be much more easier if I start creating my objects now. So I will need an object for my skeleton. So I'll go with self.skeleton. I'll set that equal to my skeleton class. Okay, and then I'll need one for dragon class as well. I'll go with self.dragon object. I'll set that equal to my dragon class. Okay, and then I might need one for myself let's see, health bar, health underscore bar object. I'll create a health bar object. Honestly, I'll keep that to be lowercase. That is going to be equal to my health bar class. Okay. Alright, perfect. Those are basically all the classes that I've created so far. Next up, I need a, let's see. I would need a class for my buff bar as well, because I am planning to create a buff system where if my player collects a potion that randomly drops on the screen, he gets an additional 100 HP buff. Okay, so to do that, let's see. Let me go ahead and create a class for my buff bar. My buff bar class, it's going to be the same. It's going to be like a UI on my screen and not a game object. I want to inherit from my game objects class. That said, let me go ahead and define a dungeon init constructor. And what all parameters would my buff bar class need? Since my buff bar is like an health bar type stuff or like an HP bar, I am going to be adding max HP. So my buff bar's max HP is going to be something like, let me go with max underscore buff. Max buff parameter, which is going to be equal to 100. Okay, and then let me go ahead and create a few instance variables. So self dot current underscore buff. This is going to be how much buff my player currently has. I'll set that equal to 0 because when my player starts the match, I don't want my player to have any buff. Okay, then let me go ahead and create a self.max underscore buff instance variable as well. I'll set that equal to max, my max buff parameter, which is going to be set to 100, and then I'll set one for self.activate. This is going to be a boolean instance variable, which is going to tell me is my buff activated yet or not. If my buff isn't, or like when my player starts the match, I don't want my buff to be activated, so I'll set that equal to false. And lastly, I'll go with a self.buff underscore time. This is going to be the exact time my buff bar appeared because I do want my buff bar to last just for 5 seconds. And once 5 seconds have been passed, my buff bar is going to disappear. Also, that equal to my time modules time function. Basically, what time modules time function does is it gives me Python's exact time. And since it's set to my self.buff time, whenever my buff bar appears on the screen, it's going to give me the exact time that my buff bar appeared on the screen, and if that time is greater than or equal to 5 seconds, that buff bar is going to disappear. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to create a buff underscore path instance variable. This is going to be equal to a dictionary of all my buff bar PNGs. So let me go ahead and load my PNGs. So I'll go with Pygame. Actually, I'll go with 0 since this is a dictionary. This is going to be the file path for my 0 HP buff bar. So I'll go with Pygame dot image dot load. I'll give the file path of my 0 HP PNG. My file path will be game items followed by 2 forward slashes followed by buff bar followed by 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my 0 buff bar PNG, and again, since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Okay, perfect. Let me just fix my convert spelling. And then add a comma just to save time. I will copy this whole thing and paste it like 5 times. This is going to be 20 HP, 40 HP, 60 HP, 80 HP, 100 HP. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and replace that 0 with 20, 20, change that to 40, 40, change this to 60, 60, change that to 80, 80. Lastly, let me change that to 100 and 100. Okay, perfect. And now let me go ahead and iterate over my dictionary. So I'll go with a for loop for every, let's say, key. For every key in my self.buff path, this basically gives me access to every single key in my buff path. These are keys, those are values. These are values. Okay, I'll go with self.buff path at index of key. Okay, I'm going to set that equal to I'm going to set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my self.buff path at index of key. Okay, so this thing basically I scaled all my buff bars. Okay, next up, will I need any methods for my buff bar? Let's say for instance I would need a method to activate my buff. For example, once my player collects a potion, he activates his buff. So let's do that. Let me go ahead and define a activate underscore buff method. My activate buff method is going to be having a parameter of amount of how much buff did I activate. Okay, and then let me go ahead and let's see, add all these stats for my activate buff. So when my buff is activated, I'll set myself dot activate boolean instance variable to be equal to true because my buff has been activated yet. Then I'll go with self.current underscore buff. I'll set that equal to my amount parameter, how much buffs bars HP does my player currently have, or how much HP does my buff bar currently have. And then let me go with self.buff underscore time. I'll set that equal to my time modules time function. I don't even think this is necessary to add here. but I'll still like keep it added here. Okay, actually no mind, I think this is pretty necessary because like when my buff bar is activated, this tracks my buff bar's time. Okay, and then let me create another class. What other classes would my buff bar need? My buff bar would need like a take damage class as well. So let me go ahead and define a take underscore damage class. My take not class, a take damage method. My take damage method will have a amount parameter to show how much damage did my buff bar take. Okay, let me add a if statement for my take damage. So if self.activate, if my buff bar is currently activated, and only if my buff bar is currently activated, I'll go with self dot current buff, my buff bar is current HP dot okay, I'll set that equal to max, which is going to be equal to 0. My buff bar's HP can go below 0, and then I'll go with self dot current buff, my buff bar's current HP minus my amount. Okay, and then I'll add another if statement. If my self dot current buff, if my buff bar's current HP is, let's say, less than or equal to 0, if my buff bar's current HP is less than or equal to 0, I'll set my self dot activate to be equal to false, so my buff bar will no longer take any damage. Okay, and then I might need a update method as well to update my, because I do wanna reset my buff bar after the HP goes below 0 or after 5 seconds. So let me go ahead and define a update method. My update method won't have any parameters, although I will have a if statement. Let me check for something. So if my self dot activate, if my buff bar is currently activated, let me go with and a pair of, actually add a tuple slash a pair of parentheses. I'll check if my time, if my Python's current time minus my self dot buff time, if my Python's current time minus when my buff bar first spawned on the screen is greater than 5 seconds. If my buff bar has been for more than 5 seconds on the screen, I'm going to be setting my self dot activate to be equal to false, so my buff bar is going to disappear from the screen. Okay, and lastly, let me go ahead and define a draw method to draw my buff bar on the screen. I'm going to be adding a parameter of surface here. My surface is going to be set to screen by default. Okay, perfect. Let me just check if my stream's been good everywhere. Guys, I actually forgot to check my comments at all. I hope I didn't get any. Okay, let me check if my kick stream's going good. Just refresh that. Okay, perfect. YouTube stream's going good. Lastly, check this YouTube stream as well. Okay, perfect. Guys, is my stream like kind of glitched up or like lagging? Let me check on my phone. Because guys, my Wi-Fi did be showing some problems. That's sad. Let me check. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, let's see. I'm amazed of your ability to keep talking. Very good skill. Honestly, I appreciate the compliment a lot, Magnus Lord. Okay, that's it. Let me just check this. There we go. Okay, perfect. Alright, let's see. Okay, so for my draw method, let's see what all would I be doing. Okay, firstly, I'm going to be iterating over all my buff paths here to get every individual key's value of my buff paths PNGs, and then I'm going to be checking if my PNGs, if the key of my PNG is less than or equal to my buff bar's current HP. For example, if my current HP is 100, I'm going to be showing this image. If my current HP is something like 80, I'm going to be showing that image. So let's do that. So I'll go with buff underscore path. I'll set that equal to, actually, yeah, I'll create a buff path variable. I'll set that equal to max. Max is going to be, let's see, I'll add a conditional expression. So for every key in my self dot buff path, okay, this basically, oh my gosh, buff path. Okay, this basically iterates over all my keys inside of my dictionary, but I will add a if statement. If my key is less than or equal to myself dot current buff, if my key, my individual key, is either less than or equal to my buff bar's current HP, I will return key. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and create a image parameter, also that equal to, actually I'll create a image variable, also that equal to myself dot current buff, my buff bar's current HP at index of buff path. Okay, perfect. This is going to be my self dot what was it called? Self dot buff path. Okay, at index of buff key, I could change to buff key. Let me change that to buff key as well. To have like different variable names. Okay, that's basically the image that's linked to my player's current HP or my buff bar's current HP. Next up, if I do want to blend this on the screen, I would need my image. I did get my image, but I would need the dest as well slash the position. So let's create that. So my x-axis is going to be equal to, I will get my hero's center, and then I'll subtract that by my image, which is my buff path that I iterated right here. My image is with center. So to do that, I'll first go with my game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object dot rect my hero's rectangles center x-axis or center x. I'll subtract that by my image. I'll get the width of my image. I'll use the dot get underscore width function, and I'll subtract that by -50. And technically the -50 is like just for visuals. You guys could change that. Like my health bar was set to -80, so my health bar is going to be exactly above my hero's PNG. Since my buff bar is set to -50, it is going to be above my health bar. Okay, with that said, let me go ahead and add a y-axis now. My y-axis is going to be equal to my game object dot my hero object inside of my game object dot rect my hero's rex top. This is going to be the top of my hero. If I were to dot bottom, my buff bar would be drawn on my player's legs. Okay, that aside, let me set that, let me subtract that by my image. I'll get the height of my image, so dot get underscore height. Okay, and my bad guys, I just realized something. This did have to be minus -50. That had to be divided by 2. That's basically the center of my width. The minus -50 should be for my height. Okay, so that's basically it for my whatchamacallit. So let me go here. That's basically it for my x-axis and y-axis. Now let me blit my buff bar on my screen. So I'll go with a surface.blit. I want to blit my image. The dest is going to be my x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and that's basically it for my buff bar class as well. Okay, what other classes would I need? I would need a drops class, because I am going to be having random drops spawning on my screen every few seconds or after every second's delay is over. So let me go ahead and create a class for my drops. And my drops class is going to inherit from my game objects class, since my drops are going to be a object on my game, unlike my buff bar and my health bar, which were UIs. Okay, I will define a dungeon init constructor, and my drop class is going to be having 2 parameters. The first is going to be image, the second is going to be the image, the second is going to be position. Since I want the position to be randomized, I'll set it to be none for now, and then before adding my super dungeon init, I'm going to be randomizing my position. So I'll go with my position parameter, also that equal to a tuple of random.randint. My position is going to be 50, comma my displays width -50. What this basically means is my drops are going to spawn anywhere on the on my horizontal window, although I would have to do that for my y-axis as well. So let me go with random.randint. I'll go with 50, comma this time instead of going with height, I'm going to go with my floor.y-axis -50. The reason I went with my floor.y-axis -50 is because my drops will spawn anywhere but under my floor where my player can't reach. Although, excuse me guys, although if it was my height -50, my drops would spawn anywhere on my window, even under my floor, but my player can't reach there. Okay, and then let me drink some water. Okay, and then outside of my my position, let me go ahead and create a super pair of parentheses dot dungeon init. Okay, my super dungeon init will have all the parameters of the class that I'm inheriting from. Since I am inheriting from the game objects class, I'm going to be having all the parameters of my game objects class. My game objects class has an image parameter, also that equal to my drop class's image. Okay, my game objects class has a position parameter as well, also that equal to my drop class's position, which is set to a random number. Just stay hydrated for the good brain, definitely, for sure. Because like, guys, usually sometimes I just like zone out and I just be talking on an autopilot mode. I don't know what I'm like talking about that time. That said, I'll go with the y-axis underscore velocity. Although my y-axis underscore velocity is gonna be set to 0 because I don't want my drops to be moving, and then I'll need a x-axis underscore velocity. Guys, I'll set that equal to 0 as well because I don't want my x-axis underscore velocity moving, and I realized this is x-axis velocity and that is y-axis velocity. With that said, that's basically it for my drops class as well. And that's basically all for all my classes in general. So I created a hero class, I created a skeleton class, I created a dragon class, I created a health bar class, I created a buff bar class, I created a drop class, and lastly a game class. So yeah, that's basically it for my classes. Now let me go ahead and create a few objects. So I created an object for my hero class, skeleton class, dragon class, and health bar class. Let me go ahead and create an object for my buff underscore bar. I'll create a buff bar object, also that equal to my buff bar class. And then let me go ahead and create a object for my drop classes. So what all drops would I need? I would need a coin drop for my player to increase his score, a meat drop for my player's health bar to increase, and lastly a buff potions so my player can get buffs. So let me create a self dot let's see, coin underscore image or self dot coins. Okay, my self dot coins is going to be a list of my drops class. The reason I am adding a list of my drops class is because I don't want my if I didn't have it as a list, that would be like one object, but inside of my list I could like iterate over my list and like add multiple coins that spawns on my screen, if that made any sense. And the image is going to be my coins image. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and create a class for my meals as well. So this is going to be my self.meals object, also that equal to a list of my drops class. And this is going to be my meat underscore image. Okay, and then I'll go with a self.buff underscore potions, also that equal to a list of my drops class. This is going to be my self.buff potions. Okay, perfect. Actually, this is not going to be my self.buff potions. This is going to be my buff potions image. Okay, perfect. These are basically all the objects that I would need. Next up, I could start focusing on my game loop. Okay, before my game loop, I just realized, let me go ahead and add a few score details. Okay, so for my score details, I'll create a self.score instance variable, which is going to be set to 0 because I want my player to start with 0 score. Let me go ahead and create a self.score boolean instance variable, so that equals to false because my player hasn't scored yet. Then I would want to blit or render a text on my screen that says score and increases every time. So let me create increases every time my player collects a coin. So I'll create a self.score underscore text underscore font variable. Also that equals to pygame dot font. Actually, that is going to be lowercase pygame, so I'll go with pygame dot font dot capitalized font. Okay, perfect. My font type is going to be none. That's basically Pygame's default font, and the size is going to be 36. Let me check if I'm audible. Okay, perfect. Guys, I need to get that Ethernet wire so my Wi-Fi is faster. This Wi-Fi is like way too slow. Okay, with that said, these are basically all these core details that I'm going to be needing. Would I need anything else? I would need a drop details section as well. Basically, the reason I need drop details is because I wanna add a few drop details, like for when my drops spawn on my screen. I want to like track that time, and every some time after a certain amount of seconds, I want that drop to spawn again on my screen. So I could go with self dot coin underscore drop underscore time instance variable. I'll set that equal to pygame. Actually, not pygame. I'll set that equal to my time modules time function. And then I'll add a delay for my coin as well. How often do I want a coin to spawn on my screen? I'll go with self.coin underscore drop underscore delay. I'll set that equal to something like 4 seconds. I want a coin to spawn on my screen once every 4 seconds. Let me create one for my, let's see, my meals as well. So I'll go with a meal drop underscore time. I'll set that. Honestly, I might have multiple meals, but not in this game. But if I had multiple meals, I could specify each meal. Self.meat drop time. I'll set that equal to the time modules time function. Okay, and then I'll go with a delay. So I'll go with self.meat drop delay. My meat drop delay is going to be equal to, let's see, something around, let's say 14 seconds. Okay, and then let me add one for my buff potions as well. So I'll go with self.buff underscore pot underscore drop underscore time. I'll set that equal to my time modules time function. Then let me go ahead and add a self.buff drop delay. Actually, I might go with buff underscore pot underscore drop delay. Okay, I'll set that equal to something like 20 seconds. I want my buff potion to spawn once every 20 seconds. Okay, and that's honestly basically it. I can't think of anything else. So let me go ahead and work on my main game loop. So I'll add a comment that says game loop. Okay, inside my game loop, honestly before my game loop, I might add a collision detection first. So I could add that above, like right here under my loop screen. I could go ahead and add collision detection actually in a comment. So all collision detections. There we go. Okay, so here are going to be all my collision detections. So let's go with the first one. I could add like another comment that comments a asterisk that says this is going to be collision detection for Hero and coins. There we go. Okay, so for my collision detection for Hero and coins, firstly, I am going to be iterating over my... I could go with Hero and NPCs first. It's the same thing. Let me just do coins first. So I am going to be iterating over the list of my coins object that is inside of my game class. Let me do that first. So for every coin in my game object dot my coins object, which is inside of my game object. Okay, what's it called? Coins. Game dot. Okay, I forgot the name of my object. Okay, it is coins object. Does it need to be under my game object? I don't think so. Okay, dot my coins object at index of colon. Okay, instead, what if I like copied this and got that right under my game object here? Okay, I can use it here. Apparently, it needs to be under my game object. Huh, I see. Okay, so collision detection for Hero and coins. So first I iterated over the list of my coins, and then let me go ahead and add offsets. The reason I am creating offsets is because we need offsets for pixel perfect collision. So let me go ahead and add that. Before that, let me check if my stream's going good on Kick, YouTube. Okay, there we go. That's going good. Let me check on Cook. Hey, I'm enjoying your stream, by the way. Have you posted on the KickFam Discord server? It's a very good way to get more views if you want your team. Like, honestly, guys, I feel like these are bots, these Kick comments, because like I get these comments like every time I stream on Kick. Okay, with that said, let me go ahead and create offsets. First is going to be offset x-axis. I'll set that equal to pygame dot. Let's see. Actually, not pygame. I'll go with my coin dot rect dot x-axis minus my game object dot my heat object inside of my game object dot rect dot x-axis. Okay, I will indent this. Okay, and then let me create one for my offset y-axis. So offset underscore y-axis is going to be equal to my coin object dot rect dot y-axis minus my game object dot my hero object dot rect dot y-axis. Okay, and then I'll create a overlap variable, also that equal to pygame dot, actually not pygame, I'll go with my game object dot my hero object dot rect dot instead of rect I'll go with mask dot overlap. I wanna overlap, I'll check if I overlap with my coin dot mask at the given offset, which is going to be in a tuple of my offset underscore x-axis and my offset underscore y-axis. Okay, perfect. And then let me add an if statement to check if a overlap did happen. If a overlap did happen, I'm going to be doing something. Let's see what. Let's see. If a overlap did happen, firstly, I'm going to increase my score by 1. So I'll go with self dot, actually not self, my game object dot my score inside of my game object. I will increase that by 1, and then I'll set my game object dot my score boolean instance variable to be equal to true since I have scored, and then I will remove that screen, or I will remove that whatchamacall, that object from my screen, or that coin from my screen. So I'll go with my game object dot my coins, this is going to be lowercase, dot the remove function. Okay, game dot my coins is list dot remove, I want to remove my coin. Okay, perfect. Let me go with an else clause. Else my game dot scored boolean instance variable is going to be set to false because I haven't scored. Okay, that's basically it for my collision detections. I'm going to be adding my spawn logic later. That said, let me go ahead and add another comment now. Maybe I go down here. Okay, and then I'll add a comment that says collision detection for, let's say, hero and meals. This is going to be the collision detection for my hero and meals. Since my meals object is inside of a list as well, I'm going to be iterating over my meals list first. For every meal in my, I could go with meat, but meals is the same thing. For every meal in my game object dot my meals object. Okay, add index of colon. The reason I added add index of colon is because add index of colon duplicates everything inside of our list, and since I remove stuff once I collide with my meat, it's always safer to have a duplicate inside of your list. Okay, I will be creating offsets. The reason I am creating offsets is because we need offsets for pixel perfect collision. Okay, that said, my offset underscore x-axis is going to be equal to my meal dot rect dot x-axis. My meals is x-axis minus my game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object dot rect my hero's rect x-axis. And then for my offset underscore y-axis, also that equal to my meal dot rect dot y-axis minus my game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object dot rect dot y-axis. Okay, and then let me go ahead and create a overlap variable. So I'll create a overlap variable, also that equal to something like game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object dot mask my hero's mask dot overlap. Okay, so if my hero's mask overlaps my meal's mask at the given offset, which is going to be inside of a tuple of my offset underscore x-axis and offset underscore y-axis, that is going to be considered a overlap. Let me add a if statement. If a overlap has been considered, or if a overlap did happen, I'm going to be doing something else. So firstly, I'm going to go with my game object dot my health bar object dot the heal method. My health bar is going to heal by 20 HP, and then I'm going to be removing that meal from my screen. So I'll go with my game object dot my meals is a list object, which is inside of my game object dot the remove function. I want to remove my meal. Okay, perfect. That's basically it for my collision detection for hero and meals. Let me go ahead and create a collision detection. So I'll go with collision detection for hero and, let's say, coins. This is going to be a collision detection for my hero and coins. Okay, let me remove that. D-E-T-E. There we go. D-E-T-E-C-T-I-O-N. Okay, perfect. Now, since my coins is a list, my coins object is a list inside of my game object, I am going to be iterating over the list and then creating offsets. The reason I am creating offsets is because we do need offsets for pixel perfect collision. So let me go with for every coin in my game object dot my coins is object which is inside of my game object at index of colon. The reason I did add an index of colon is because since I am going to be removing the coins once I collide with it, it is always safer to have a duplicate. And I just realized I already added a collision detection for hero and coins. This can be my buff potion. So I'll change my buff potion. Potion. Okay, perfect. Okay, this is going to be for every pot in my game dot buff pots. Okay, perfect. Now let me go ahead and create offset. So offset underscore x-axis is going to be equal to my pot dot rect dot x-axis, my pots x-axis minus my game object dot my heat object which is inside of my game object dot rect dot x-axis. Let me do that for my y-axis as well. I'll go with offset underscore y-axis. Also that equal to my pot dot my OBS is kind of acting cranky. Let's see. Okay, it says Wi-Fi is connected. OBS reconnected successfully. Alright, mic testing, mic testing. Can you guys listen to me? Okay. Okay, perfect, guys. It's my Wi-Fi. I'm streaming on like multiple different platforms at the same time, so sometime my Wi-Fi is cranky. I probably need an Ethernet cable. Okay, that said, if my game object dot my heat object inside of my game object dot mask dot overlaps with my pots, if it overlaps with my pots mask at the given offset of my offset underscore x-axis and offset underscore y-axis. Okay, I'm going to be doing something. Let's see. Okay, that's going to be considered a overlap. Let me check if overlap. If an overlap did happen, I'm going to be doing something. Firstly, I'm going to be activating my buff, so I can go with my game object dot my buff bar object dot the activate buff method. My buff that I'm going to be activating is going to be 100 buff. Okay, and then I'm going to be removing the buff pot from my screen, so I'll go with my game object dot my buff pots object. My buff pots is lists object dot the remove function. I want to remove my pot. Okay, perfect. Alright, so that's basically it for all my overlaps. Now let me go ahead and add a spawning logic for my game drops. Let me go ahead and add a comment that says spawn logic for game drops. Okay, this is going to be the spawn logic for my, maybe add another comment. This is going to be the spawn logic for my, let's say, coins. Let me go with spawn logic for coins. Okay, although before that I might add another collision detection for my player and NPC because I forgot to do that. Okay, so this is going to be a collision detection for hero and NPCs. Okay, for my collision detection for hero and NPCs, this is going to be a bit more different than my drops collision, like collision for coin, collision for other stuff. Since I have more than one NPCs, I am going to be defining a function. So let me go ahead and define a collision underscore detector function. My collision detector function is going to be having a few parameters like my enemy object, who is my enemy, my hero object, who is my hero, and then the next one is optional enemy underscore name. But I just like clarifying that because this is going to be this is going to show in my console with which enemy did I exactly collide with. Alright, and then lastly I'll need a collision underscore flag parameter. Okay, perfect. Next up, let me go ahead and return a Pygame. Actually, not return. Let's see. Okay, next up I would create offset. So let me go ahead and create offset. So I'll create a offset underscore x-axis, also that equal to Pygame. Oh my gosh, not Pygame. This is gonna be my enemy dot rect dot x-axis minus my hero dot rect dot x-axis, and then I'll do the same thing for my offset underscore y-axis, also that equal to my enemy dot rect dot y-axis minus my hero dot rect dot y-axis. Okay, and then let me go ahead and create a overlap variable to check if a overlap did happen. Let me go with my hero dot mask dot overlap my enemy dot mask at the given offset, which is going to be in a tuple of my offset underscore x-axis and offset underscore y-axis. What this basically means is that if my hero's mask overlaps with my enemy's mask at this given offset, that's going to be considered a overlap. Let me add a if statement to check if a overlap did happen. If a overlap did happen, and then I would check if my collision flag is turned to true as well. So if not collision flag. Okay, if a overlap did happen and if my collision flag is set to true, I'm going to be doing something. Firstly, I will print something like boom collided with add a pair of curly parentheses, convert this to an f string, add my enemy underscore name parameter here. Okay, and then I actually might add another parameter here to check how much damage my NPC or slash my player takes. Okay, I'll go with damage equals to 20, so my damage is set to 20 by default. And then let me add something here. So once my player collides with my NPC, first, if I have a buff bar, if my buff bar is activated, my buff bar will take damage, else my health bar will take damage. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me add a comment that says buff bar takes damage. Okay, for my buff bar takes damage first. I'll go with the if statement. I'll check if my buff bar is currently activated. I'll go with if my game dot my buff bar class, which is inside of my game class, dot the activate if my buff bar, and only if my buff bar is currently activated, I'll go with my game dot buff bar dot the take underscore damage method. That's the only time a buff bar will take damage. The damage is going to be my damage parameter. Okay, and then once my buff bar takes damage, I'm going to be checking an if statement. I'm going to be adding an if statement to check my buff bar's current HP. And if my HP goes less than 0 or is equal to 0, my buff bar's activator is going to be set to false. So if my self dot if my game object dot my buff bar dot my buff bar's current HP is less than or equal to 0, my game object dot my buff bar object dot activate is going to be set to false. My buff bar is no longer going to be activated, so my buff bar won't take damage. And now outside my if statement, I'll go with a else clause, and then I'm going to be saying else if my buff bar didn't take damage, I'll go with my health bar dot take underscore damage. My health bar is going to take damage. Let's see, my damage is going to be my damage parameter, which is set to 20 by default. Okay, and if my health bar takes damage, I do want to start implementing my sound effects as well. I'll go with my colliding sound effect dot the play function. Okay, honestly, let me add the colliding sound effects and like different sound effects for my separate collisions as well. Like if my player collides with my coins, I go with my maybe after my scored, I can go with my colliding sound effect dot play. Colliding sound effect dot play. Okay, and then if my player collides with a meal, after my heal, I could go with eating sound effects dot play. Okay, and lastly, if my player collides with a buff potion after activating my buff, I could go with, I don't know, drinking potion, drinking sound effect dot play. Okay, perfect. Okay, colliding sound effect dot play, and then let me add another if statement. Honestly, if my game object dot my health bar object, which is inside of my game object dot current HP, if my health bar's current HP is less than or equal to 0, I set my game object dot my game underscore lost instance boolean variable to be equal to true. I've lost my game then. Okay, perfect. That's honestly basically it for my collision detection for hero and NPCs. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add a why did I have a space logic? This is going to be spawn logic. A spawn logic for my game drop. First spawn logic is going to be for my coin drop. So let me go with an if statement. If my time modules time function minus my game object dot my coin drop time is less than, okay, let's see, is less than my game object's drop delay, my coin drop delay. Okay, I'm going to be appending my drops class inside of my game objects class, so another coin spawns on my screen. I'll go with drops. Excuse me guys, actually I'll go with my game dot my game object dot my coins object, which is inside of my game object dot append. I wanna append something. Let's see, I wanna append my drops class, and the image is going to be my coin image. Okay, perfect. And then lastly, I'm going to reassign my game dot coin drop time to be equal to my time modules time function. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a spawn logic. So let me go ahead and add a hyphen. Is that what we call it? Spawn logic for meals. This is going to be the spawn logic for my player and meals, although I do want to go in the perfect order here. First I had coins, meals, and then buff portion. Okay. Alright, so I'll add an if statement. If my time modules time function minus my game dot, this is going to be my meal drop time, my game dot meal drop time, game object dot my meal underscore, okay, I'll go with meat drop time, is less than my game dot meat drop delay. I'm gonna append my drops class inside of my meals class or my meals class. So I'll go with my game object dot my meals class dot append. I wanna append my drops class. My drops class. Okay, perfect. And my image is going to be my meat underscore image. Okay, and then let me go ahead and reassign my game dot meat drop time to be equal to my time modules time function. Alright, perfect. And then let me go ahead and add another spawn logic for my buff potion. So I'll go with a hyphen spawn logic for, let's see, for buff potion. Okay, for my spawn logic for buff potion, I will add an if statement as well. So if my time modules time function minus my game dot buff drop time, my buff potions drop time is less than my game objects buff potions drop delay, I'm gonna append my drops class inside of my buff potions list. So I'll go with game object dot my buff pots list. There we go. Dot append. I wanna append my drops class. Okay, and then my image is going to be my buff pod image. Okay, and then I will reassign my game dot buff pod drop time to be equal to my time modules time function. Alright, perfect. Let me just check if my stream's going good everywhere. Okay, it's going good there. Okay, it's going good. Hey, I'm enjoying your stream. Hey homie, I can share your kick stream with community to help you have followers and viewers and also earn streams and also earn from streams. Let's chat, add me on Discord. Guys, I'm pretty sure these are bots actually, because like I get these comments and kick every single time. And like I once even like added somebody there because they were like, I would love to connect with your this thing because I enjoy our streams. I was like, okay, let's see. Guys, I feel like it's all bot chats. Correct me if I'm wrong. That said, let's see. Now let me go ahead and add my main game loop. For my main game loop, I'll create a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to be, let's see, set that equal to be true, and then add a while loop. So while is underscore running while my program is running or while my is running is set to true. I'm gonna be doing something. Let's see. What am I gonna be doing? I'm going to be adding a keys variable to check my player movement. So I'll create a keys variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.key.get underscore pressed. Okay, this is going to check if any of my keys get pressed, and then I will fill my screen to be a good blue color. So let me go with a screen.fill. And yes, this time I do know my RGB color. My RGB color is going to be a tuple of 0231 by 255. That's a good blue color. Okay, and then what else would I need? Let's see. Okay, that's honestly basically it. I usually add a collision detection here, but let me go ahead and actually, honestly, I might add a, a freeze as well. So my player first says the missions and then my regular screen gets split, if that made any sense. So let me add another boolean variable that says mission underscore active. I'll set that equal to false because my mission hasn't been activated yet. And then under my games class, which is gonna be right here, let me honestly get my, I mean, it's fine here. Okay, so under my games class, let me go ahead and add a sound detail section. For my sound details, what all sound details would I need? I'll check if a current sound is being played. If a current sound is being played, I'm going to be removing all other background noises and only letting that sound play. So the first one could be something like a self.mission_1_sound. I'll set that equal to, let's say, false, because our mission1 sound hasn't been played yet. And then let me go ahead and create a self.win_sound. I'll set that equal to false because my win sound hasn't been played yet. A self.lose_sound. I'll set that equal to false as well because my lose sound hasn't been played yet. Okay, let's see. And then let me go all the way down. Okay, now let me go ahead and add a if statement here. So if not my game object dot my mission1 sound, if my mission1 sound is being played, if it is set to true, which it is initially set to false, but the not membership operator converts false to true and true to false. So if dot mission1 sound, if my mission1 sound is being played right now, firstly I'm going to be stopping all the background noises. So I'll go with a pygame.mixer.stop. This stops all background noise. Maybe I'll write a comment that says stops all background sounds. Okay, that stops all background sounds. Okay, and then what else would I need? Let's see. Okay, and then let me blit a let me blit my actual sound. So I'll go with my mission1 channel. Mission1 channel dot the play function. I want to play my mission1 sound effect. Okay, perfect. And then lastly, I am going to be setting my game.mission1 sound to be equal to true. Okay, that's basically it. So when I start the game, it is going to be playing this mission1 sound. And now, let me firstly add my event loops inside of my while loop. So I'll go with event loop. Okay, so for my event loop, I'm going to be iterating over all my Pygame events, and basically iterating means looping. So I'll go with for every event in my pygame.event.get. This basically gets all my Pygame events, but I'll look for a specific type of event. So if my event.type equals to pygame.all uppercase squid, I'll set my is_running boolean variable to be equal to false. Okay, and then I honestly might add a few more event loops for if my player hits or my game resets, but I'll do that later. So outside of my for loop, I am going to be, let me add a comment that says checking if, or actually I don't know what to phrase this. I could say like checking mission1 sound effects, or like checking if mission1 sound has been played. Checking if mission1 sound has been or is playing. Mission1 sound is being played. Okay. Alright, perfect. So let me check if my mission1 sound is being played. To check that, let's see what am I gonna do. I'll go with the if statement. So if not mission1 sound, actually, okay, if not mission active, my mission active is set to true. Okay, if my mission active is set to true, if my mission has currently been active, I'm going to be, let's see. Let me go ahead and blitz something on my screen. I'll go with a mission_1_text. I'll set that equal to, actually this is going to be mission1 text font. I'll set that equal to pygame.lowercase font.capitalized font. And maybe fix my typo. Okay, my font type will be none. That's basically Pygame's default font, and my size is going to be something like 150. Okay, and then let me go ahead and render my font on my screen. So I'll go with mission1 text. I'll set that equal to my mission1 text font dot the render function. I'll render a text something like mission1. The italicity, if that's how you pronounce it, is going to be set to true. Lastly, the color is going to be black. In a tuple, I'll go with black. Okay, perfect. Alright, what else do I need? Now let me blit my mission1 text on the screen. So I'll go with a screen.blit. I want to blit my mission1 text on my screen. Okay, at the given depth of, I don't know, How did we get like the center of it? Honestly, I might check the reference for this part because I want to like see how to get the center of my text. Okay, so it is width divided by 2 minus, so my width's the center, my display's width's the center, minus my mission 1 text's width divided by 2. Okay, so by mission text's width divided by 2, so first my display's width divided by 2 minus my mission text's width divided by 2. Okay, comma my height divided by 2. I see. Okay, I'll try remembering that next time. So I'll go with firstly, it's gotta be my mission text. So my mission text variable, actually before my mission text first is going to be my width, my display's width divided by 2. Okay, minus my mission text. Okay, dot get underscore width. I get the width of my mission text, and I divided that by 2 as well, comma my Windows height divided by 2. Okay, perfect. Alright, that basically displays the text on my screen, although I would need to check if a sound is currently being played as well. So let me go and check. If not, my mission 1 channel dot get underscore busy, if my mission 1 channel is currently not busy, because mission basically the get busy, it like returns true if my whatchamacallit, if my text is, or if my sound is currently been playing, and if my sound is not being played, it's going to be returning false. So currently my sound is not playing, so that returns false, but I flip it. Okay, I go with mission active, I set that equal to true. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a else clause here. So for my else clause, this is going to be my, maybe I add a hyphen that says regular game loop. Okay, for my regular game loop, let's see. What else would I need? Firstly, let me add collision detection, or collision detection. There we go, maybe 2 hyphens here and like 2 hyphens there just for neatness. Okay, for my collision detection, firstly I'm going to be adding my collision flag. So game.skeleton collision, this is my collision flag for my skeleton collision detection. Also that equal to invoke my collision detector function, fill in the parameters. My enemy parameter is going to be my game object dot my skeleton object, which is inside of my game object. My hero parameter is going to be my game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object. My enemy name is going to be skeleton. And lastly, my collision flag is going to be my game.skeleton collision. Let me copy that and paste it here. Okay, and the reason we're seeing like a yellow underline here is because I didn't add returns inside of my collision detection for player and NPC. So let me go ahead and do that. So after my if not collision flag, if my collision flag is set to true, I will return true. If my collision flag is not set to true, I will return false. Okay, perfect. Now if I just scroll down, the yellow underline should be gone. Okay, and then let me go with my dragon collision. So game.dragon collision, also that equal to invoke my collision detector function. I'll go with my game object dot my dragon object. Okay, and then I'll go with my, maybe zoom out a little. Okay, this is my game object dot my hero object. Okay, so I'll go with my game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object. My hero's name is going to be a dragon. Lastly, my collision flag is going to be my game.dragon collision. Okay, game object dot dragon collision. Okay, perfect. Although, why does my hero name come in a yellow underline? Okay, type hero doesn't have expected attribute of rect. Okay, I have a typo inside under my collision detection. Let's fix that typo. There we go. Let's fix that to rect. Okay, perfect. Alright, so that's basically it for my collision detection for my hero. Next up, I would need, let's see. I would need to add my game object, so let me go ahead and do that. This is going to be my game objects. For my game objects, let me go ahead and go with my game dot hero object dot the move method. My move method will have a parameter of keys to it. Okay, did I add a move method to my hero object? I'm pretty sure I didn't. Let me go under my hero object right here. There we go. Okay, I didn't add a move method. Okay, I did add a move method. There we go. Okay, guys, Python is case sensitive. Okay, so game object dot heat object inside of my game object dot the move method, and then let me go with my game object dot my heat object, which is inside of, excuse me guys, which is inside of my game object dot the apply gravity, that applies gravity to my hero. I do have a trap method, I do have a landing method. Perfect. Let me go with my game object dot my dragon object now, which is inside of my game object dot the automate method. This automates my dragon. Let me go ahead and add a game object dot my, let's see, I could go with something like let's say skeleton. My game object dot my skeleton object, which is inside of my game object dot the automate method. So I automate my skeleton as well. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add graphics. For my graphics, let me go with my game object dot my hero object, which is inside of my game object dot the draw method. This is going to draw my hero object, and then I'll go with skeleton game object dot my skeleton object dot the draw method, so that draws my skeleton as well. Let me go with my game object dot my dragon object dot the draw method. This draws my dragon, and then let me go ahead and draw my buff bars. So first I'll draw my, honestly I might draw my health bar first, so I'll go with my game object dot draw, actually dot my health bar object, which is inside of my game object. I named it heal bar for some reason, but that's fine. I'll go with dot draw. Okay, next up, let me draw my health bar, but before I draw my health bar, I will check if my health bar is activated yet. So let me go with the if statement. If my game object dot my buff bar object dot activate, if my buff bar is currently activated, I'm gonna go with my game object dot my buff bar object dot draw. I'm gonna be drawing my buff bar, and before I draw my buff bar, I will update my buff bar to check if 5 seconds have passed. So I'll go with my game object dot my buff bar object dot update. Okay, perfect. And then let me go ahead and draw my game loots. So actually my game drops, so since my game drops is in a list, or are lists, for example my coins is a list, my game object dot my meals is a list, I'm going to be iterating over them. So I'll go with for every coin in my game object dot my coins is object. Okay, I'll go with my coin dot draw, that draws my coin. Let me do the same thing for my meals. For every meat in my game object dot my meals is list, I'm going to be going with my meat dot draw. I'm going to draw my meat, and then I'll go with another for loop for my buff pots. I'll go with for every pot in my game object dot my buff pots, I'm going to be drawing my pot. So pot dot draw. Okay, perfect. That basically draws my pot as well. Next up, I have to draw my floor as well, where my player is going to be standing. So let me do that. I'll go with pygame dot draw dot rect. Okay, my surface is going to be my screen. The RGB color of my floor is going to be brown, which is 145 by 108 by 0. And my floor's attributes, x-axis, y-axis, width and height, my rex attributes is going to be inside of my floor variable. Okay, that's basically it. Next up, let me go ahead and add a pygame.display.flip. This basically updates my display. Before that, I will add a FPS. So I'll add my clock variable.the_tick function. My FPS is going to be my FPS variable. Maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS. And then I'll go with a pygame.quit. This is going to exit pygame, and then I'll go with a sys.exit. This is going to exit the entire Python program. Okay, that's honestly pretty much it. Let me go ahead and run the command and check everything. If I run the command, okay, file not found error. Oh, I loaded the wrong file path, guys. My bad. Okay, for my dragon object right here, Dragon, there we go. Let me fix my typo here. Okay, Dragon PNG. I think it's the same thing. File not found, error, line 22. Okay, load images. Okay, found in working directory mini. Okay. Let me check my Dragon PNG. Okay, it is called Dragon PNG. Did I name it something else or did I import something? There we go. No wonder, I imported something else, guys. Okay, we're good. Let me go ahead and run the command again. Okay, there's gonna be another error.
Collect 10 gold coins.
Alright, that was kind of messed up. Where's the error? Unresolved reference health bar, line 300. Okay, let me go to my line 300. Health bar dot take damage. This is going to be my game object dot health bar dot take damage. Is that called health bar or it's called heal bar? Heal bar. Okay, now if I run the command.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay, I see some progress. I see some progress. Let's fix that. Although, is my whatchamacallit, RGB screen dot fill correct? Okay, this is kind of wrong. It should be 231. There we go.
Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay, so if not mission active, my mission hasn't been activated yet. I blid this. Let me go with if mission active.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay, I see. Let me get this up. There. Let me get that all the way there. Paste it. Okay. And now add a notch here. Okay, now if I run the command.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay, regular game loop. Why are there so many spawns though? Okay, collision detection is a little messed up. I gotta fix that. Okay, gotta fix my skeleton's position as well. Okay, my collision detection for NPCs. Okay, collision detection for player and buff potion. Dish part correct, definitely correct. Okay, health bar dot activate. Did I need to get this inside of my event loop? Okay, let's try that. So let me copy everything from here. There we go. All the way to collision detection. Let me copy that, delete that. Add that inside of my event loop. Maybe under my event loop. Most likely even under this, inside of my regular game loop. Okay, let me paste it there. So that's event loop, regular game loop, all collision detection. Okay, these are all my collision detections. That's all my spawn logics. I might change these to greater than. Okay, if it's greater than. Okay. Collision detection. Alright, this looks pretty good now. Game objects, I draw my graphics.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay. Okay, I need to change my sound effects here, but yeah, they needed to be inside the game loop. Okay, let me go all the way under my whatchamacallit, sound effects. Okay, which is right here. Okay, so colliding coin sound effect, that's correct. So under my collision detection most likely. Okay, let me change that to colliding sound effect, colliding coin sound effect, or coin colliding sound effect. Now if I run the command.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins. Ching.
Okay, why does it say oh when I collect that? Oh, if my health bar takes damage, that's ching. Wait, now I'm gonna just go with Control Z here. Okay, that's colliding sound effect. Where's my colliding sound effect with? There we go. This should be coin colliding sound effect. Coin underscore collision sound effect. There we go. Now if I run the command.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
coins.
Ching. Ching. Ching.
Okay.
Ching.
Let me honestly blit my score on my screen as well to keep a track of my score. So under my graphics right here, let me go with a score text font. I have a score text font, so I'll go with my game object dot my score text font dot the render function. I want to render a text on my screen. Text is going to be, actually I want to render a f string. So I'll go with score, add a colon, pair of parentheses. This is going to be my game object dot my score object. My italicus is going to be set to true. Lastly, my color is going to be something like black. Okay, perfect. Now I've run the command. Oh, I forgot to blit it on my screen. Hold up, guys. I'll go with a screen.blit. I want to blit my game dot. Honestly, I'll reassign this to a score underscore text variable. Okay, I want to blit my score text at the given dest of 10 and 10. Now if I run the command.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay, I have a score text. Okay, I gotta fix their positions as well. Their positions are kind of awkward. Cha-ching. I gotta add win/lose logic as well. Okay, we get a quick gist of it. Waiting for a meat to spawn. There we go, that looks pretty good. Okay, with that said, let me go ahead and add a win/lose logic now. So, under my collision logic, under my regular game loop, I will add a comment that says win/lose logic. For my win/lose logic, I'll first create a way that my player can win the game. So, if my score is greater than or equal to 10, if my game object dot my score is greater than or equal to 10, I'll set my game object dot my game underscore 1 to be equal to true. Okay, let me go with if my game dot game underscore 1. If I have won a game, I'm gonna do something. Let's see. I'll go with screen dot blit. I want to blit my WinScreen UI. Okay, the given dest of let's see. The given dest of 0 and 0. Okay, and then let me blit it text as well. So I'll go with game underscore 1 underscore text. My text is going to be equal to my game 1 text. Actually, not game 1 text. My game dot. Excuse me, guys. Did I add a font for my game win? Let me go all the way up to my win/lose. Okay, WinText font. It wasn't called game, it was called WinText font. Okay, so game1 text equals to my WinText font dot the render function. I want to render something. Let's see. I want to render a text that says U1 exclamation press R to play. Again, the italicus is going to be set to 2. Lastly, the color is going to be set to 0. There we go. Okay, perfect. And then I do want to blit my render text on my screen. So let me go with a screen.blit. I want to blit my game1 text at the given dest of, let's go with the center of my screen. So my display's width divided by 2 minus my game1 text. Okay, game1 text dot get underscore width. I'll get the width of my game1 text. Okay, I'll divide that by 2 as well. Divided by 2, comma, my display's height divided by 2. Okay, perfect. Let me do the same thing for, I mean, not let me do the same thing. Let me blit a sound effect as well. Although before blitting a sound effect, I'll check if like any other sound effect is being played. So I'll go with the if sound effect. Actually, I won't check if any other sound effect is being played. I'm gonna stop all background sound effects or like background noises. So I'll go with if my game object got my win sound. Okay. Actually, if not, okay, basically the not is going to flip my game.win sound, which is initially set to false, to be equal to true. So if my win sound is currently playing, I'm going to go with a pygame.mixer.stop. This is going to stop all my background noises. Maybe I'll add a comment that says stops all background noises. I could go with sounds. Okay, this stops all my background sounds. Okay, and then let me go ahead and play my music. So I'll go with my windscreen channel dot play. I'm gonna play my windscreen sound. Okay, my windscreen sound effect, and then I'll set my game dot win underscore sound to be equal to true. Okay, let me do the same thing now for my lose statement, or for my lose. So let me go with the if statement. If game dot game underscore loss, which I will lose if my health bar's HP set to 0. I'm gonna go with a screen.blit. I'll blit my lose screen UI at the given dest of 0 and 0. Okay, and then I'll go with my game underscore lost underscore text underscore font. This is gonna be my game lost text font, but I'll just keep this to text. I'll set that equal to game lost text font dot the render function. I want to render a text. The text is going to be something like you lost exclamation. Press R to play again. Okay, I could go with press R to restart. Okay, perfect. Press R to restart, and then my italicization is going to be set to true, and my color is going to be let's say black. Okay, now let me go ahead and blit my whatchamacallit, screen on my, or my win text on my screen. So I'll go with screen.blit. Okay, and what do I want to blit? I want to blit my game lost text at the given dest, which is going to be in a tuple of my display's width. Okay, let me go with my display's width divided by 2 minus my, this is going to be width. Okay, minus my, let's see, let me just go a little here. Okay, screen.blit. Game lost text. This is going to be game lost text. Okay, at the given dest of okay, and this is going to be my game lost text dot get underscore width. I'll get the width of my game lost text. I'll divide that by 2 as well, comma, I'll get the height of my display. Let me just go a little more here, and then I'll divide it by 2 too. Okay, let me just cancel that. Divided by 2. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's basically it. Now let me play my lose game sound. So let me check. If not lose game sound, right somewhere here. Where's my if not game dot lose sound? There we go. If my lose sound is currently playing, if my lose sound is set to true, I want to stop all background noises. So I'll go with pygame.stop. Actually, pygame.mixer.stop. This stops all the background noises playing. Maybe I'll add a comment that says stops all background sounds. Okay, this stops all the background sounds. And then let me go ahead and add a my loose screen channel dot the play function. I want to play my loose screen text. Okay, loose screen sound effect, I mean. And then I'll set my game dot game lost to be equal to false. Alright, perfect. That basically does it for my loose screen. And then let me go ahead and add a else clause, and this is going to be my regular game loop. I mean, the rest of my game loop is going to go inside this. So everything here until my clock dot, until my FPS goes inside of that. Okay, so if I haven't lost a match here or I haven't won a match yet, I do these things. Alright, perfect. Let me go ahead and run the command. File not found error. Of course, I definitely imported something else. I knew it. There we go. Now I get an error. Let's see. Okay, game lost font. This is gonna be game lost text. Or is this gonna be game lost? What was my this thing that was called win text font? This is gonna be loose text font, not game. Loose text font dot render. Okay, now if I run the command.
Mission, collect 10 gold coins.
Wave completed. Sit back and wait for further instructions, warrior.
Okay, there's one thing that I saw. I gotta change this to an else if. And then this should be more than if it's greater than or equal to 10. Now if I run the command.
Mission, collect 10 gold coins. Cha-ching,
Let's try winning real quick.
cha-ching.
Oh my gosh, guys, I actually might lose. Gotta play this strategically.
Cha-ching.
And yeah, I gotta fix my positions too. I can't take half the items on the screen. Yep, I'm definitely losing.
Cha-ching.
Might win. Hold up, might get a comeback, guys.
Cha-ching. Cha-ching.
How is it that my health bar doesn't take any damage?
Cha-ching. Cha-ching.
Guys, I actually might win. Hold up.
Cha-ching.
There we go, there we go. Need one more coin.
Wave completed. Sit back and wait for further instructions, warrior.
Okay, my U1, press R to reset. I might want it a little higher, so I could change my desk to be something like... Okay, my width I want it to be somewhere around 250 by 40. Okay, and then let me go ahead and change that to 1 so the game is like actually pretty easy to win. Add a parentheses here. Now if I run the command. Let me get a gold coin.
Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay. There we go, that looks much better.
Completed. Sit back and wait for further instructions,
Press
warrior.
R to play again. I'll change this to, let's see, I'll change that to 250 by 40 as well. Okay, and then add a pair of parentheses. Alright, with that said, let me change that back to 10. Let's try losing now.
Mission,
Collect 10 gold coins. Oh shoot, I can't do this like that. I gotta like try to lose. Oh, I actually might lose sooner than I thought. Nice.
You have fallen, warrior. You must try again and emerge victorious. You have fallen, warrior. You must try.
Okay, there was something messed up there. Okay, else if game.game underscore lost. Screen.blip. Didn't I blip that on my screen? I blipped that on my screen. Okay, you lost. Press R to restart. Okay. Screen.blip. I blipped that. Let me go ahead and go up real quick to my lose screen here. My file path is correct. I converted that. I set the position. Why does it show for like just a second? Maybe under my collision detection in that case. Let's go under my collision detection. The key is gonna be right here. If my health bar's HP is less than or equal to 0, game.game underscore lost equals to true. Okay, if game.game underscore lost, where's that gone? Oh, could it be my collision logic should be above that? Okay, let's try that. Let me get my collision logic for hero and NPC, copy this, delete that from here. Okay, let's get that above my this thing. Okay, let me paste it here. That's gonna be okay, collision logic for hero and NPC. Maybe add another hyphen here. 2 hyphens might look much better than 1 hyphen. There. Okay. Now if I run the command, let me try losing again.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
While I lose, let me check if my stream's going good. Actually, now I gotta actively try to
You
lose.
have fallen, warrior. You must try again and emerge. You have fallen, warrior. You have fallen, warrior. You must try. You have fallen, warrior. You must try again and emerge victor.
Okay, something's like messed up with my game.game lost. Else if my game object.game_lost. Okay, and my game lost is set to true if my HP is less than or equal to 0. I go with a screen.blitz. Okay, lose screen UI. After that. Okay, if not game.game_lost. I play that stops all background noises. I play my oh! Wait, why did I set that to be false? This is going to be a loose sound. I set that equal to true. Alright, perfect. Now let me go ahead and run the command.
Collect 10 gold coins.
Let's try getting hit.
Cha-ching.
Let's go down. Try getting hit again.
You have fallen, warrior. You must try again and emerge victorious.
Okay, perfect. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add a whatchamacallit. Okay, let me go ahead and add a let's see, a reset logic. So under my event loop, I'm gonna be adding another if statement. Maybe add a comment first that says reset logic. Okay. So, and then I'll go here and add a if statement. So if my event dot type equals to pygame dot key down, if any of my key is being pushed down, I'll look for a specific type of key. If my event dot key which is being pushed down is equal to pygame dot k lowercase r, if my key is r, I'll go with my under my game object. I'm going to be defining a reset method. I'll define a reset method. Then I'll go ahead and add a self.dunger init constructor. There we go. I'll just go with my let's see, game object dot my reset method. This resets my whole game. After I reset my game, let me go ahead and let's see, get my mission active to be equal to false. My mission is no longer active. Okay. Honestly, I might play this as well, so I'll copy that. Once my game resets, I want to play my my mission one sound, and my mission active is set to false. Let me run the command.
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins. Mission. Collect 10 gold coins.
Okay, perfect. That works. Although there's one problem. I could like spam my R.
Mission.
Okay, I want to avoid spamming the R's. So let me go ahead and add a if my event.key equals to pygame.r, if my R key is pressed and not game dot actually, and my game.game_lost. Okay, this goes in a tuple. Okay, game.game_lost is set to false, or game.game_1 is set to false. I might go with a not. Can either my game.game_lost is set to true. Either I've lost the game or I have won a game. I reset my game and then I play the sound. My mission active is set to false. So, okay, let me go ahead and run the command. Okay. Guys, what was that?
Mission. Collect 10 gold coins. Mission.
Okay. Let me remove the not from here.
Mission. Collect 10 gold
Oh, there we go.
coins.
Okay, guys, that did need a not. Let me try losing real quick.
Cha-ching.
You have fallen, warrior. You must try.
Mission. Collect 10.
Alright, perfect. That part works. Although I do want to fix my skeleton's position. He's like way too high. So under my skeleton class first, while I'm at my player class, I'll increase that by 20 so my player can like actually stand on a floor. Because he's like kind of hovering over the air. Okay, and then for my skeleton class, I'll change that to something like 405. Now if I run the command, the proportions should be much better.
Collect 10 gold coins.
There we go.
Ching ching.
Okay, perfect.
Ching ching. Ching ching. Ching ching.
Okay, nice. Oh, and honestly, that's everything I could think of. There's like literally nothing else that I can think of. And guys, I haven't even been streaming for that long. But honestly, I do got some college stuff, so I might end the stream a little sooner today. How many platforms? Oh my gosh, guys, I missed so many chats. Stream cut out for me. Loading is back. How many platforms are you streaming on? Yeah, they're bots. It's the same on Twitch. Honestly, yeah, I usually I was planning to even stream on TikTok as well, but then initially I was streaming vertically, horizontally on YouTube, and then on Twitch, on Kick. But then I did want to stream on TikTok. I will probably do that after I get an Ethernet cable, because most likely my Wi-Fi can handle streaming on those many platforms. So I might connect my mini PC to my Wi-Fi's router directly. That said, let's see. Guys, I actually didn't see much chats from my horizontal chat or like my vertical chat. Okay, honestly, I feel like that was honestly pretty much it for my whatchamacallit, this game. Tomorrow is the day 100. Let me actually go to my main camera. Alright guys, honestly I could have made this game all over again after deleting it, but I do got a lot of college work. That said, it is currently 3:47. I usually end my stream at 6 o'clock, but I got a lot of college stuff to do. And also tomorrow is my day 100. I don't know how to make it hype at all because I got college exams, so I wouldn't be learning a whole script. That said, if you guys enjoyed the stream, don't forget to like, subscribe. Like helps my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, again, I appreciate the 100 subscribers that I got yesterday. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace! And make sure to join the Discord as well. Link is in the description and in the pinned comments.